The first thing I'd say is that it's always good to have a project or a goal that you can work towards when you're learning something. Because I think you can learn how to code and you can learn like loops and iterations and stuff like that. That's all good and well. But if you don't have like a project, like, I want to build a game and this is why I'm learning Python, or I want to build a website and this is why I'm learning JavaScript, I think it can be quite hard to like follow through. So I'd always say start with a goal, which is a project, not just I want to learn JavaScript kind of thing.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Hope you're looking after this. Oh, so sorry, I didn't tell you this. I'll say it in the episode anyways. You're our first guest of the new season. Yeah. So even though you're not the first episode of the year, you're the first guest of the new season. But yeah, hello everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're looking after yourselves. Welcome to another episode, but also another season of the Student Guide, where we bring on incredible people talking about incredible topics and so much more. We are excited to be a part of season 9, which is wild to say. And I do have a soundboard. You would have noticed it from the last episode. And as I tried to quickly get to the audio effects, no, the wrong button. There we go. And let me go to the applause. Because, I hope this is yes, it is the applause. Because, we're on season 9. We're slowly approaching season 10, the big 100. But we've got an incredible guest lined up for you this season. And why not start with our incredible guest for today's episode? As you all know, I hate doing introductions because I think people won't want to hear from me. You hear from me more than enough. But you want to hear from these incredible people. So instead, I'm going to hand over to today's guest. Could we know a bit more about you and what you do?
Of course. So, hello. First of all, it's an honor to be here. This is my first podcast, so it's my debut, so this is really exciting for me. But my name is Ruth. So I am a pharmacist turned software engineer. Studied pharmacy at university, became a pharmacist, decided it wasn't really for me, and then went down this self-taught route. So I taught myself how to code and now work as a software engineer at an investment bank.
Wow.
And I work with people who are a bit like I was when I was a pharmacist, unhappy with their careers, unhappy with where they are, and want to like switch careers either into tech or any other industry, because I'm really passionate about making sure people don't stay stuck. So that's me.
Okay, it's not one of the questions listed here, but I'm excited to ask this and also to know the answer. What has been the most interesting, like within your role, that you've seen like a career switch? And maybe it's like 2 different industries that you're like, I can't even see, like, the switch seems like it should be wild, but someone's been able to do it.
Good question. Maybe teacher into tech.
Okay.
Because at least, for example, pharmacy, there's an element of STEM and stuff like that, and maths and stuff that you can, I guess, use to apply to this new industry. But teaching is completely different, especially like someone like an English teacher. And so, I think that's an incredible transition. Like you're literally learning from scratch. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. And we will learn more about Ruth in just a moment. But as you all know, we don't start the episode without hearing from our 44 questions and 44 words founder, Amanda, who comes up with great questions to ask our incredible guests. And she's come up with a great one today. Which is, what's a belief or assumption you've had to unlearn or reevaluate about yourself, but for you, specifically focusing on your switch from pharmacy into software engineering?
So a misconception.
Or belief that you've had to unlearn or reevaluate while you made this switch.
About myself. Okay. I've got a good one. So basically, I attempted to like learn programming 3 times before and failed. Okay. So the first time was I was in, I think, my second year of uni, and I wanted to pick up Python because it looked cool. I was like, oh, this would be like a cool skill to learn. So I tried to learn it. And if you've ever done, I don't know if you've done coding. Or...
like 1 or 2 modules. We had to learn. We had to learn how to use R and like.
All right, that's good.
No, but never again. Like I did it in my first year for a module. I was like, absolutely not. Like, I was just like, I appreciate my lecturer for teaching me. I was like, thank you. This is cool. Like I can say I've done a bit of coding, but afterwards I was like, please don't be reaching out to me suggesting these kind of things. I wouldn't do this to you. It's not fair.
Fair enough. But at least you had your foot in the door. Yeah. We like that. We like a trier. But yeah, so in my second year of uni, I was like, okay, let me try to learn Python. And then the first lesson was print hello world in your console. I'm sure you've been through that. And I was like, I don't understand why you're making me print hello world in the console when I can just write it on in a Word doc. I didn't understand how it connected. I didn't understand how you go from that to build these big applications. And then when I tried it again, I got more into it, but I found it really, really hard, especially when I started looking at the theory and the programming aspects and stuff like that. And I remember in my coding bootcamp, hopefully we'll touch upon this later, but in my coding bootcamp, we had some homework and it was about object-oriented programming. I won't go into too much, but if you're a CS student, you know what I'm talking about. And it was the first time I touched this and I was like, I just don't get it. I think I might drop out because I just don't understand. But long story short, I persisted, tried different things, failed, and then I eventually got it, was able to complete the homework, submitted it, got a merit in that bootcamp. And I think what that taught me is that nothing is hard, it's just new. And so you need to put in the hours and the reps and just be really dedicated to learning things. So once I kind of embedded that idea in my head, you can give me a programming language, you can give me a technical concept. I might not get it first, but I know eventually I will if I put in the time and put in the reps. So I don't find things as intimidating because I know you can learn them.
You can learn it on the way. That's really nice. I think that's nice for like many reasons, but I think to highlight the main reason is you kind of showed that you don't need to be an expert at everything. Just learn as you go along, and that's okay. Yeah. And obviously, like I said, we'll get into it a bit. Literally in this first question, we'll talk about essentially that moment where you pivoted into going into tech. But like you mentioned there, it's great to see how essentially you're I'm still gonna it's okay. I don't need to know everything. I don't need to be there's no expectation of me to know everything at the start. I just need to be prepared to learn, develop, grow, get into this space and see where things go.
Yeah, I would say put in the reps like the gym. Put in the reps.
But yeah, let's talk about the first question. So our first official question to you is, as I mentioned, looking into this pivotal moment. So, you mentioned that you trained, your bio mentioned, that you trained and you worked in community pharmacy. And then there was that moment. You were just I'm going to switch into tech. What was the this isn't for me anymore moment?
Hey.
And what finally gave you the push to commit to this switch?
Do you know what? To be honest with you, Jeffrey, this moment came when I was in university, and I think I don't want to say it's all pharmacy students, but a lot of people call pharmacy students the medicine dentistry rejects. Now don't bite my head off for this, but it's a well-known thing. You didn't get into medicine, you didn't get into dentistry. Pharmacy, you're studying medicine, you study pharmacology, you study the body and stuff like that, biology, chemistry. It's the next best thing. So I found that a lot of people on my cohort really, really wanted to do medicine but didn't get in. And me, myself, I wanted to study dentistry, missed it by a mark, was okay, let me study pharmacy. So that in itself can tell you that it wasn't a career path that I really wanted to go in. And it wasn't a career path that my whole cohort wanted to go in either. Well, the majority of them. And then we did placements. So when as you study, I think from second, even from first year, you have to do placements in either hospitals or community pharmacy. And I remember doing my one of my placements in a community pharmacy, and I was an eager, optimistic pharmacy student, just ready to kind of see what it was about. And I remember the pharmacist was just miserable, absolutely miserable. And I was I just didn't understand. But I realized, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to do this whole career path and then end up like her. No offense. I hope she's happy now. But I didn't want to end up like her. And so that was the first one. And then just over the years, I realized that pharmacy wasn't for me. I think the course was great. I think it was so interesting. It's so multifaceted because you learn science, you learn business because you have to like know how to run your own pharmacy. You learn like health economics, maths, like just it's a great degree to do if you don't know what you want to do. But I think it was just too repetitive and it lacked creativity, which is something that I really thrive off. So even within uni, I did like had like a small graphic design business and would make like branding logos for small companies. And I felt like pharmacy didn't have that because you literally just have, we call it the BNF, it's basically the drug Bible. And it says, it has every medicine in it, its side effects, how to take it, blah, 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 blah. So my whole job is just reciting this Bible based on like what condition someone has. And so I was like, I need something more. And then I decided to finish my degree and then become a pharmacist before I looked at other options, just so that I had that, I guess, safety net, because I knew I could always go back to pharmacy if it didn't work out. So yeah, it was just a long period of this isn't for me, this isn't for me, this isn't for me. I need to wait for the right time before I leap. And then when the right time came, I said, bye, deuces.
Okay. Wow. That is very interesting because for many reasons. One, I like that you had the confidence to realize this isn't for me and be like, it's okay. Because I think one thing that I'm sure as you're Nigerian, I'm not wrong.
Yeah, Nigerian and Ghanaian.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, the surname. Yeah. But yeah, but like, honestly, like for us, for a lot, well, I'd say mainly for like, especially from like a, African, Asian, Caribbean household, there's the expectation of you start this degree. Even when you're like, I'm not really enjoying it, you need to finish it.
Yes.
Now, thankfully, my parents instilled a key message to me when I was picking my degrees. They were just like, look, there will be a point where you don't like your degree. And it gets to everyone. No matter even if you think you love this degree, there'll be a point where you don't like it. Yeah. But they were just like, the most important thing is you're going to be here for maybe 3 or 4 years. You need to focus on a degree that you're like, it will be tough in this part, but I'm going to come out of it with something that I enjoyed. So I like the fact that like my parents were just like, pick a degree that's good and one that you feel happy with doing. And they weren't like, because like, for example, like my sisters both studied biomed. I knew from the get-go, biomed's not for me. My brother went into engineering. I was like, I barely like maths. But I was really passionate about sustainability and my undergrad degree in environmental science was quite nice because it covers, like you said, like it's one of those degrees where it covers so much. So like I would do lectures with biomed students. I would do, we learned about like, literally like our first year, like we learned about the body, cells, all with biomed students. Okay. But then my degree was also interesting because there were different modules where you learn about, so like we had a module on epidemiology, so like the study of diseases and how it moves in a population. We had a module like people could take on like construction. So if you were interested in sustainable construction, you could work with engineering students. We had one on, to be fair, now I think about it, I don't know how this links with computer science, but we had a module with computer science students with coding.
They just put you guys everywhere.
But yeah, it was just like a degree that like it encompassed like everything, and I liked it.
That's so cool. Yeah, I think those are the best.
100%, and like you feel really confident in it. And I guess the point I'm just saying this is because I guess I was like I liked that my degree had that. So yes, there were modules that I absolutely detested. Like I said, lab work not for me.
Not
but
for me either.
Honestly,
I hated it.
Like especially when you do it, and they'd be like, oh yeah, so you did the experiment, you followed the instructions. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. Yes. Write a report about it. I was like, so you want me to write a report?
Sometimes you have to fake them tests.
You see what I mean?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
But I was like, especially for my dissertation, I was like, when they're like, oh, do you want to do desk-based research or lab? I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing lab-based research. So I'm going to spend months working on dissertation. I've thought about this amazing experiment. I've tested it out. It didn't work. And then I have to write a report about it. And then I'm expected to pass from a report about an experiment that maybe failed. Yeah. God forbid. So I was like, I know, but I like the fact that like my degree had that. But I guess the point I'm trying to say is that I like that you were just like, no, actually, this isn't for me and I need to make a change. And I think people feel like they can't do that. Like if they're doing a degree, they need to commit to it and follow through with it. A bit of advice, I'm looking in 2 of the 3, maybe potentially all 3 cameras. But my advice would be, especially if you're a first year student, you may not know this, but your university within your first term, basically, it may have changed, but when I was at uni, universities had this thing where students can easily transfer to different universities within their first term of their first year. So that's like if you've ever been to university and you've been like, wow, my first term was like really nice, like super supportive, the university was great, and then your second term or third term, it didn't feel like that.
Oh, because they know.
It's because they know. So they have a tendency within that like first term. Like obviously there are some degrees or universities that are really great. I know from also people's experiences who've been on the podcast and from those who haven't, that like not everyone's having a good time. So that first term is really when like I would say to people, if you feel that your degree isn't really useful or your university is not doing your degree well, you should think about moving. So like within my first year, there was someone on my course who she went to Royal Holloway, but she was like, I'm doing this course at Royal Holloway and I'm really not enjoying it. Like the campus isn't great. I don't really like being here. So she was just like, cool, I'm going to go to Brunel instead. They do the same course. I've got the grades for it. And they were just like, yeah, cool, you can start. So even though she hadn't done her first term the first term assessments you do at uni, because your first year doesn't count, she was able to then switch to a different uni and do the same course.
And she started out first year at that uni?
Yeah, so she did her first term of her first year at Royal Holloway, and then halfway through she was just like, yeah, no, I don't want to be here anymore. And then she applied, like she reached out to Brunel, spoke to Brunel. She told her university, like, I'm so sorry, but like I'm gonna transfer. And then they said, cool, like you can transfer. So she came and joined my course in term 2, so like from January. So for us it was like interesting because I was like, oh, I didn't even know, like I thought like as soon as you were locked in, like you're locked into this degree and you could
have to catch up on exams or anything?
So funnily enough, I don't think so, because especially because honestly, so again, your first year, I mean, I'm not saying fail your first year of uni, but like your first year of uni doesn't count towards your final degree. So I think they were just like, like while it would have been good for her to have done this stuff, like I think they were just like, as long as you know the basics, like I tell people, my first year of uni, we learned about like it's key stage 3. So like, what's a cell? What's the rest? Like the different systems in the body.
The mitochondria.
Honestly, I was like, okay, so like this is, and it was multiple choice exam. So I was also just like, okay, you know, she might have passed even if they told her she had to do it. But yeah, that's why I say like, if you're not enjoying your first year or like your first term of uni, definitely like, if your second choice is like always keep in mind if you want to go to another uni. I know my sister was saying the same thing. So I got into my Brunel was my second choice. Queen Mary was my first. But funnily enough, I went to neither's open day, which is something I would like. I enjoyed my time at Brunel. Brunel was great, but like I know not going to my uni's open days was like when I tell you, I like people think, oh, I knew what I was going in. Like I knew what I was going into. I didn't know a thing. I was like, I don't know who my lecturers are. I don't know anything about. I literally just applied to my course from UCAS's website, and I was like, Brunel offers this course. It sounds cool. I'm gonna apply. And yeah, I never went to an open day. Never like went on campus. So people were just like, oh, how do you know about Brunel? I was like, oh, I knew people who went there, and like I knew like my brother knew about the uni because he was thinking of going there. So people were just like, it's a good uni, and I was like, oh, it's good. A lot of people say it's good. Like if the degree is really bad, like I'll just transfer. But then, so when I got into my second choice, my sister was just like, oh, you know, like I said, like, she was like, oh, you could do your like first term, see how it goes, and then transfer to Queen Mary. And I was like, you know what? This isn't that bad. Like, it's a good course. I had a different uni. Like, this has now become a whole separate conversation, which is now I need to bring back on topic. Yeah. But very finally, like the quick summary is like my degree. Like there was only like max 8. Like I went on a placement year, so I didn't graduate with everyone who was in my year. But like for my whole year, by the end of year 1, there was 18 of us. By the end of year 2, I think 2 people dropped out. So maybe there was like 16, but like my degree was like small. So when everyone was just like, oh, I had like 200, 100 plus people in the room, it's like I had like less than my A-level class.
That's a very cute cohort.
Yeah, it was nice. It was good. Like we got along well. We all knew each other. Like, and it was one of those ones where like obviously now because you're so small, the lecturers also know all of you well enough. So they'd be like, okay, cool. We know like who's the person that you know is the reliable one, who's always going to be late, who's a person, like, and also, bearing in mind, most of our lecturers were in like, not tiered seating, massive halls. It was like all like flat rooms and like a classroom. Wow. So I was just like, so it was worse because you couldn't even like for people. I'm not encouraging this. I I never fell asleep fully. My eyes were shutting a bit in in some of my lectures, but it was because it was afternoon lecture, whole day. But literally, like, I was just like, I can't sleep in this class because if I do, he will definitely see.
Eyes will be on you. Oh, that's a shame.
But yeah, all of that fun stuff. To bring it back on topic, to say definitely make sure you take the most of like if you are gonna go, if you're not happy with the degree, definitely think about your alternative choices. But yeah, we're going to go into the second question, which is all about self-taught strategy. So you mentioned, you essentially learnt to code, and you spoke. This is essentially where we'll definitely touch about your bootcamp. Yes. So when you were learning to code, what did your weekly routine actually look like? So we're talking about resources, projects that you were doing, time management, and what would you do differently if you were to start again today? So if you were just like, I'm gonna, like, you didn't know how to code, or let's say, for example, myself, I don't know how to code. What would you be like, Jeffrey, this is what I did, and this is my weekly routine, but for you, I would recommend do this.
Okay. So my routine. Okay, so to backtrack, the first thing I'd say is that it's always good to have a project or a goal that you can work towards when you're learning something. Because I think you can learn how to code and you can learn like loops and iterations and stuff like that. That's all good and well. But if you don't have like a project, like, I want to build a game and this is why I'm learning Python, or I want to build a website and this is why I'm learning JavaScript, I think it can be quite hard to like follow through. So I'd always say start with a goal, which is a project, not just I want to learn JavaScript kind of thing. So my quote unquote project was that I wanted to build websites. Okay. And this is because, you know how I previously said that I was a graphic designer and I did like branding for small businesses. There was a point where I was running this on Instagram and a lot of the businesses that I was designing for were on Instagram. And then there was one day where Instagram went down and I was like, you can't really rely on these like social media sites. Yep. Like you need to have a base where people can find you, and that would be a website. And I was like, okay, cool. So this is something that I can potentially offer to my clients because I want them to have a base because a lot of them at the time were running their businesses through Instagram. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me learn how to make websites and include this as a service I offer. So I started with like no-code/low code web design, which is probably much better now than it was. We're talking 4 or 5 years ago. But I realized with those, you couldn't really customize the websites as much as I wanted to because I was doing it for clients, unless you had something called like CSS and JavaScript. And this CSS JavaScript kept on coming up. So I was like, okay, maybe I should learn this so that I'll be able to customize websites the way that I want to. And so I started learning that. And to be fair, I started learning how to code by accident. Like I never learned how to code to become a software engineer. I learned how to code to make websites for the graphic design business that I was running. But then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, especially because I started with JavaScript and CSS and I was doing like front end development. So for those who don't know, that's like everything you see on a web page or an application. So the buttons, in Instagram, the icons that you click on, the feed, everything that you see. I was able to like program this, and I thought it was really cool and really gratifying because you can see the colors change, you can see the positions of the buttons change, and I was like, oh, this is so much fun. And so having a project and an end goal helped me just have an aim when I was learning. So I started with front end development because it was gratifying and easy to kind of keep to, and then to make like full stack applications, so back to front, you have to learn a back-end language, and I started with Python just because it's very, very easy to learn. It's very close to the like English language, so very easy to pick up. And then I was using a lot of free resources, so I used FreeCodeCamp first, which is an amazing, amazing resource. That was like my first introduction into programming, and obviously I kept at it, so that's a testimony in itself. And then a lot of YouTube channels as well. FreeCodeCamp have their own YouTube channel, so I'd recommend that. And then after a while, I was like, okay, cool. I want to like invest in my education. So I bought some Udemy courses to learn. These are like in JavaScript and React, and they were a bit more just intense, which I needed at the time. And then with learning how to code, sometimes it can get quite lonely because obviously you're stuck in your room, you're on your computer for how many hours just like typing away. And so that's when I decided to look at communities and came across Code First Girls. So this is a non-profit organization which specifically teaches women how to code because of the gender imbalance in tech. And they offer free courses. So I did their Python course initially, and this was like a 4-week course where we learned Python and then we did a group project at the end. And that was really fun because obviously I'd never collaborated with people before when building like a project. So it was normally like my requirements, what I want to build. So it was very different, but I really enjoyed it. And I was able to meet like incredible women who were enthusiastic about learning how to code, which kind of propelled me in my journey. And off the back of that, I also did their bootcamp, which was a 16-week, very intense course that I did. I balanced, I was working part-time as a pharmacist at the time, so I was balancing that with work. But it was a really good course in the sense that it's tailored for career switchers. So they assume that you are working. So it would be like 4 evenings out of the week for 2 hours, I believe. And then obviously you have homework and coursework and stuff like that. But they literally just taught us everything. We learned Python, databases, data structures and algorithms. And I think the thing about boot camps is that they tailor your learning to like industry demands. So a CS degree might go like really heavy into theory and hardware and stuff like that. Whereas for a software engineering job, all you need to know is like how to code and then data structures and algorithms and maybe some like architectural design knowledge. So they kind of make learning efficient. Like you know what you need to learn in order to get a job. So yeah, I really enjoyed that experience. It was tough, but it was a great experience. And your second question, if I could go back and do something differently. I think I would have found a coding community earlier instead of doing it by myself. I think, it worked initially for me, but it would have been more fun if I just had a community to rely on and to speak to and things like that. So find community earlier.
Yeah, I love that. And yeah, we're all about community here. I'm actually going to talk about a bit more about what we've got in line for our community later on. But we're going to go on to Treasure Talks, which is our new segment from last season. We are exploring, because you may be wondering what's going to be added this season. Hopefully you'll notice in the video something different. So let us know in the comments. But yes, Treasure Talks is an item that is relevant to you as a person. Now, you already informed me about this. This is the first time, and I guess this is setting the tone. So for anyone who's watching, who's either looking to be on in the future, or one of our next upcoming guests, you got to beat the level of standard that's being set today, because we don't have an item per se. We have an email, and I'm intrigued. So could I please know a bit more about this email?
Okay.
And why is this email significant to you?
Okay. So I think it sums up who I am, what type of person I am. And then it also kind of gives you an idea of my journey, I guess my career transition and how I was able to do it. So the email is, have you heard of FutureMe?
Yes.
The website?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So this email was written in 2022, March 28th, 2022.
Okay.
And just to set the scene, so essentially at this point in time, I was in my pharmacy training year at Boots. This is what the email says. I wasn't enjoying it. I really wanted to switch careers. I found pharmacy repetitive, no room for creativity. And in the email, I talk about how I started coding. I'm like 7 months in. I'm really enjoying it. And then I wrote like things that I hope to do. So I hope to start the Code First Girls degree, which I did. I hope to apply to get a job as a software engineer, which I did. And work for a big tech company. I don't work for a big tech company. I work for a big investment bank, which I did. And yeah, so I chose this because I think it's so important for especially me and my character to kind of visualize things before they happen and speak them into existence. So obviously at this point in time when I was writing this letter, first of all, this email came to me, I think it was like the 1st of January 2026. Wow. And like it was such a shock when I was reading through it because obviously I'd forgotten about it. I was like, oh, and I did this and then this happened and this. And there's obviously some like other things in there which is a bit personal that I won't speak about. But just to see everything like kind of the past me build this reality that I'm now living is just incredible. So yeah, that kind of says a bit about me and how I work. And then also, like if you're listening to this podcast, I would recommend you go to FutureMe. It's like a website that you can write future emails to yourself. You can pick a date when you receive the email, but write an email and set the date to, let's do 3 years from now. And then write your like ideal day or your ideal situation that you want to be in 3 years from now. And hopefully when you do receive that email in the future, you'll be like, wow, I achieved it. I stood by what I wanted. I put in the work and I'm here now. And sometimes we forget how far we've come. So it's always nice to get those reminders, even if it is from your past self, to be like, hey, thank you for putting in the work for us to like live out our dreams. So, yeah.
It's beautiful.
That was my...
That's beautiful.
No, thank
you. Like I said, I'm glad I'm not a guest this season. I've got to top that. But no, I really like that for many different reasons again. But I think one key one is, so it's not coming out this year. I need to remember, is it next year it's coming? Is it next year or the year after?
2028.
So 2028. So for our 50th episode... Wow. I'll see if we'll do this for the 100th one because, like, I'll be honest, man. Like, the 50th episode, I wasn't expecting to have gotten here for, but
thank God.
Honestly, man, thank God every day for it. For the 50th episode, the person who interviewed me, so there will be as I mentioned, a point where these guys know passing the mic. We swap roles. You get to ask me questions, and I interviewed someone. And the person who interviewed for the 50th episode was like, oh, I don't want to ask you a question. I want you to do something. And I was like, oh, okay, this is different. I've never done this before. And she was like, look, I want you to look into the camera. And this was funny because the camera, I hadn't this at the time. Camera wasn't working. So I've only got the audio version of this. Yeah, the camera was out of sync with the audio and it just looked awful. But the person was still happy with the episode. Yeah. And she was like, oh, I want you to speak to the camera and record a message for yourself. And basically, it was like FutureMe. So she was just like, I want you to talk to the 5-year version of Jeffrey, talk about him, talk about what's happened, like what you want, what you're doing, like where life is, what you're celebrating, where you're at, all of this stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. Now, if you listen back to that 50th episode, you might be like, oh my days, where is this? Jeffrey's not included this. I was instructed, and you'll hear in the recording, I was instructed to cut that out and release it in 5 years' time. So in 2 years' time from now, which is wild to think, because like genuinely, I can't believe that's coming up to... That's coming up to 5 years. But in 2 years' time, so in 2028, August, you will see or hear at least what that message was. And I think, like you said, there is something really beautiful about, like, I personally generally don't even remember what I said in there. But I like it. I like doing it. And I mentioned it in the episode because it was nice to, like, give yourself that vision to work towards. Yeah. Because I feel like people are just like, oh, yeah, like, I think... One of the things that I've definitely learned this year, and even though like I say this year as if like we're not just at the end of month one, but when I tell you January's been a month, I've really learned the importance of like creating that space to like, you've got a goal and that's great, but like you need to know how you're going to get there and like have that clear. And it's okay to have that vision, and it's okay for that vision, like the journey to change to get there, but the journey needs to start with something. Like if I'm going out, and I don't know, I've never been to this address before. Yeah. I need to either know from Google Maps. If we want to keep it old fashioned, I need to have a physical map. And I need to like look at it. And I need to be like, tell me how to get here. Because I feel like if you're just like you wouldn't go out, like I wouldn't be like, oh, I want to go to, I don't know, if I'd never been in London before and I was like, I want to go to, I don't know, Piccadilly Circus. I wouldn't be like, cool, I'm just going to like walk out And like, I might be able to walk out and find stuff. Maybe I'll ask someone. But then at the end of the day, you're going off of that, like someone else's information. You're going off someone else's step. So for me, it's like, this year's really taught me like, yes, you can have all that knowledge, but you need to have that like, you can have that vision, but you need to also put the steps in to do that vision. And whether that's through systems you put in place. There was one someone recommended about like creating content, which is really useful. I'm hoping to implement. Whether that's, you know, accountability. So like, you've got a friend who's like, cool, you're like, I'm expecting. So like, people get surprised when I say I don't think I post enough on LinkedIn. People are just like, yeah, you posting loads, but I'm like, for the most part, I'm just reposting what like Pick Up the Mic is posting. So I want to post more as an individual. But like, even with my with LinkedIn posts, I've told people like, your accountability can be, like, my friend, can you tell me, like, if you don't see 3 LinkedIn posts from me in a week, you need to come and like come correct me.
Yeah. I tell my friends to bully me if I don't.
100%. I told my sister like she didn't follow through this, but no. that's fine. I'll make sure she does next time. But I told one of my sisters, I was like, look, because she was like, I'm really struggling to like make this decision. I don't know what to do. And I was like, look, okay, I'm gonna make it simple for you. I'm gonna count to 5. If you don't come up with an answer, you're gonna give me £20.
Wow, you are a strict program.
Yeah, I was just like, look, because she was good. She was like, I was like, look, we're going in circles. I was like, you're not sure what to do, like I'm gonna take money from you, and the more time we do this, the like more. And because I was just like, at the end of the day, you know what you want to do. You might not necessarily feel confident enough to say it. You might not feel like you've got you know everything, and you want to make a more informed. And I'm not saying you should do this with every decision, but I was like, if you've got the information and you're still really stuck, and you've prayed about it, and you're still not sure, like, well, maybe not do this if you have prayed about it, but I just told her, look, just be like, cool, £20 every time the person counts to 5, you're giving another £20. And whether that you tell them that £20 that I've now charged you, like, you're gonna have to reinvest in a charity, whether it's you're giving the money directly to me, whether it's like, I don't know, that friend that you're like, they're so annoying. You have to now buy them something nice and be like, cool, this is for you. That people may say that's a bit harsh. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But that's between you and your friends. And if you're that friend that's suddenly receiving gifts, now you know why. But yeah, like whatever it is, like sometimes you need that like kick because you need to like make a decision. And if you're just like, I don't know, yes, no, like you sometimes need that. So I think for me, what I really love is that you not only like came up with the FutureMe, but also I think what's funny is you didn't go back, or well, at least from what you said, you didn't go back to like read it and be like, I need to stick to this dream, or I need to do this. It was like you had a vision, you stuck to that vision, and you surprised yourself because you did everything without having to like have it pinned up on the wall or like written somewhere to see it every day. So yeah, thank you very much for that.
No worries.
We will go to the next question, but before we do, we will go to first the mic check, interesting fact, figure, or story related to the conversation. And Stack Overflow's 2024 developer survey found that 66% of developers have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. However, only 49% learn to code at school. And this is interesting because it highlights how common it is for non-traditional learning paths to get into coding and development. So, this next question is about breaking into fintech. So, you landed a job as a software engineer at an investment bank in London. So, what do people misunderstand most about working in that environment? And which pharmacy skills unexpectedly became your advantage in this role?
Good question. So, I'm not sure if I watched too much TV, but before I entered like the investment banking industry, I thought it was like cutthroat. I thought there'd be like people shouting on the desks. I thought it'd be like fast paced, like no grace, do the work, put your head down, blah, 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 blah. Now, don't get me wrong, we have to work hard, but it's not cutthroat like you see in the movies. And when I went there, I was like, oh my gosh, these people are actually really nice and they're really friendly and they're really helpful and stuff like that. So yeah, that was a misconception that I had before that has now been debunked. We thank God. And what was the other question? Pharmacy skills that have helped me with software engineering. There's been so many, you know. I think it's such a transferable like skill set. So first of all is questions. So as a pharmacist, when you're say you come into my pharmacy and you say, I have a rash. My role as a pharmacist is to explore that rash. And so I have to like follow a framework to gather information so that I can recommend a solution. Yeah. So in pharmacy, we use WHAM. Okay. It's been a long time since I've been a pharmacist. Let me try to remember what that means. It's like who are you? Your like your medical history, your age and stuff like that. What? So what is it? It's a rash. What does it look like? Blah, 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 blah. Action. Have you taken any actions? Have you used any creams? How have they worked? Have you taken any pills and stuff like that? And medical history. So you might have started a new pill that has caused this rash, blah, 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 blah. So I'll go through those questions with you, and then that will help me problem solve and come to a solution, and then I can recommend a medicine to you. And that's very similar to software engineering. So the business will come to us with a requirement. For example, a trader wants a feature on their dashboard where they can submit feedback. And so I'll be like, okay, so what format do you want this feedback box to be? What is more efficient? What works with your workflow? Where do you put your mouse? Blah, 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 blah. And again, it's I guess requirement gathering, but just in a different way, asking the right questions efficiently to get the answers you need to create a solution. And again, it's very solution based. So in pharmacy, I'm finding a medicine. In software engineering, I'm finding like the best feature to suit this need. So there's a lot of parallels, and there's also communication as well, because in pharmacy, there's a lot of like technical medical terms. So if I'm talking about like hypertension or like, I don't know, anti-malarial structure, blah, 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 blah. When I'm communicating that to a patient, I have to like use words that they understand. So like, your blood pressure is high, it's over this, we need to reduce it by this much, instead of using all that technical jargon. And the same as software engineering, there's very like technical concepts, whether we're talking about architecture or APIs or microservices and stuff like that, all this jargon. Whereas I would just say to the business, okay, we use certain architecture, but this is going to help your application stay up and not like fall over when there's too much traffic. So being able to like know those very technical, deep phrases, but then when you're talking to the appropriate audience to kind of like translate it in a way that they can understand and digest. So yeah, there's lots of parallels. As I say, pharmacy is a great, like study pharmacy. It's a great like thing to have, and it gives you so many skill sets that are transferable. Yeah,
and I think that's really nice because like you said, like sometimes people are just like these two industries don't actually like there's no skills that you could take from one to another. But like you said, even like the way that you're like thinking and tackling solutions, and also I've also told people that's an advantage. So because you're not doing it as someone who maybe studied like software engineering as a degree, you can come at that at a different approach. So the way that you're problem solving, you may be problem solving as a pharmacist would rather than a software engineer, but that's not a disadvantage. That's actually great because you might see something that someone's like, oh, actually, we've been doing this wrong this entire time. Like, why aren't we asking these type of questions? Why aren't we following through with this? But that's an advantage that people may feel like is a disadvantage. So,
and I think it's key for tech because tech is always moving. They always require innovation. So if they can get people who can look at the problem from a different angle, that will help them with that kind of innovation.
100%. But we've now come to the very last question before we swap roles. And you get to ask me as many questions as you like. But this is looking at sustainable growth and confidence. So now that you're in the industry and you're sharing insights, you know, through your writing, I didn't mention this on the podcast, you've got a blog. Please do tell us more about that as well. What mindset shift helped you most deal with imposter syndrome and not having a traditional background?
Okay, good question. So to be honest, I think I still deal with imposter syndrome. Like because of where I work, I'm just surrounded by like incredibly talented people who know like everything, it seems like. But I think what has helped me kind of get over it or start to get over it is first of all seeing senior developers be very humble when they don't know something. And we have a culture of, we call it paired programming. So if someone is like dealing with a bug, they will say to another developer, hey, can we sit together and go through this problem? So I think that culture has helped because I know that no matter how senior I get, I have a culture to support me when I don't know something. And also the fact that other senior developers are still using this method to kind of debug and solve some issues. I know that it's just part of the job. And what was the other part of the question? Sorry.
You know what? See, look, this is how you know, like, recording at the end of a work day is never good. Because when you asked me that, I was like, what is the end of the part of the question that I was talking about? So it was, what mindset helped? So how did it help you deal with imposter syndrome, but also not having a traditional background?
Oh, not having a traditional background. Do you know what? Honestly, so my manager, she comes from a maths background. So she's just like me. She didn't study computer science. But her brain is incredible. Like the technical knowledge she's been able to adopt, her, I guess, visibility over projects and technical concepts and the business and stuff like that is immaculate. So I think having someone, and I guess this is quite a unique experience because a lot of people, their managers will be someone who comes from a computer science background. But to have like such a great role model who doesn't have a computer science background, but is so amazing at what they do has just been inspirational and has made me be like, okay, no, I can get there too, regardless of what I studied or what I didn't study. So yeah, I think she's just been a great role model.
Cool. Yeah. Perfect. Well, this is where we swap roles. So I'll close the tablet and you get to ask me all the questions that you have prepared.
This is exciting.
So yeah, let me know what the first question is. This is passing the mic. I completely forgot to introduce this, but this is passing the mic. So yeah, let me know what questions you've got.
Okay, my first question. Let me know if anyone has asked you this before. I hope not. Okay, right. The first question is:
yes,
dinner with Jay-Z or £1 million?
See, I haven't been asked this before,
yes.
but I've seen this conversation before. So this leads to a wider conversation that I've heard. Like, I know you spoke about Trevor before recording, but like on his podcast, either on his podcast or like in something he did, he was talking about what's more. It was on his podcast. He was talking about what's better for you as an individual. Is it better to have unlimited money or unlimited access? And I think ultimately that's what this question with like Jay-Z or getting like money is about, because it's like, because like essentially having dinner with Jay-Z, I get what people say. People be like, you could have dinner with Jay-Z could end up hating you, nothing's happened. But then you could make a whole like marketing campaign and spin stuff around. Like, even if you didn't enjoy like obviously the hope is that he enjoys it, you work together, all of that fun stuff. The alternative is also true. If he hates the dinner, that's a whole marketing thing, because then you can be like, look, I had a dinner with Jay-Z and it was awful and this and that.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want unlimited access or like, I guess, potential opportunities of fame, or do you want instant money into your bank account? Now, the logical part of my brain is like, get the money. Is get the dinner. One, because I'm not going anywhere cheap if I'm going with Jay-Z.
That dinner will be free.
That dinner will be free, and it'll most likely be in a restaurant that I've either never heard of, I've only seen the outside of, and I know I'm not fronting the bill, so I don't need.
Probably can't pronounce the restaurant
name either. You know what? He may even fly me out to the place. Who knows? Which I won't complain to. But then also the reason why I was just like the dinner as well, because some people will be like, what? This guy just said the dinner. He's not thinking about the money. Wouldn't the money be better? Tax. See, look, that's what you're thinking. Then now you got to think about, because that money comes in unless you're going somewhere, you're putting in an account where you don't pay tax on
offshore accounts.
Offshore accounts, like you're paying tax on this money that's coming into your account. And unless you're prepared to get an accountant, fix up, get all of this money sorted, because that's also what I've told people. Because people have been like, oh, like if £1 million like dropped in your business, like, how would you feel? And I was just like, yeah, it'd be great. But there's also a part of me that's just like, am I ready to deal with like all the responsibility that's going to come with? Because you'll then need to like fix up on your accounting, which means you'll most likely have to hire an accountant. Outside of hiring an accountant, you'll need to make sure that like they've got access to everything you need. If you've got £1 million and you're now spending it, you're going to, like, especially if it's like an investment, then you need to make sure there's a return on investment, which means you might need to bring on a team, which means more money. So I'm like, even if I got the like $1 million, which are probably people in my family would be like, why is this guy saying you go for the dinner? I'm like, there's so much, and like I personally, well, I've been doing this for like 5 years, so, and people are still watching, so I'm assuming people aren't sick of this, but like I feel like I would have an interesting time with Jay-Z. He may also, it may not just be with him, he may bring people he knows, he might bring like, I don't know,
Beyonce.
You might bring Beyonce. That might be would be chill.
Yeah.
Who knows? I get free Cowboy Carter tickets. But yeah, I was just like, I just feel like, and it's interesting because Trevor Noah said the same thing. Like he feels that like unlimited access is really like a beautiful thing because like unlimited, like even like if you had a lot of money. Or even unlimited money's like, I know what people say, money gets you in the door, it can do anything. But I think he was saying unlimited access means so that like, let's say that dinner goes really well. Jay-Z's like, I love what you're doing, Jeffrey. Love pick up the mic. He might be like, here's my number. If you need anything to pick up the mic, call me and let's do this. Now, money can do that. But money, usually you have to put a lot of money down for someone to be like, I will do whatever, like your beck and call. I work part-time. Like, for me personally, even if they were paying me like, well, maybe not $500,000. If they were paying me 500,000 a year, maybe I would have to step up. But like, I was like, if it, you know, like a job would need to pay me a lot for me to be like, oh yeah, like I'm on holiday, I now have to work on this. Or, oh, you know, so-and-so's called me, they really need help with X. Like, let's do this. Because like, if it's pick up the mic wise, yeah, I'll support people where I can and stuff like that. But I'm also like, if a client's calling me up and it's just like, oh, I need X, like I need this by today, and I'm like, actually, this wasn't what we agreed. Like that's cool. I just feel like having Jay-Z on and his connections essentially on a phone is going to benefit you more longer term than getting the money.
£1 million.
And then the final way I end this question is, you need to think about it like this. If you got the money, what do you, like I said, aside from just tax, like what are you going to do with it? And I feel like you can have a conversation with Jay-Z and learn about what do you do with your first $1 million? And that could be, even if it's just a dinner. Like, I know I've spoken a lot about like building up a connection, whatever. But you can have one long dinner with Jay-Z and you learn about how to not only make your first $1 million, but how to keep it and then make $2 million.
Yeah.
Whereas if I get $1 million, people may be like, I could pay someone that. But then that's already like part of that $1 million that I've got gone. So I've already lost $1 million when I could have a free dinner. I learned from someone how to make millions successfully, and then I learned how to make that $1 million into $2 million. And then once I can make $2 million, I can make that into $4 million. $4 million, $8 million. Next thing you know, you're a millionaire, and now you're sorted. And now all the things you're worried about with your money, or like, oh, what would I do if I had $1 million? You don't need to worry about, because now you've got people who that's their job to worry about how you're doing it. So yeah, that would be my thing. I'd say the dinner, to me, logically just makes the more sense. Obviously, emotionally, I'm like, if someone gave me £1 million a day, I would love to like just do that instead. But yeah, I think personally, and maybe it's because like I do hosting and like talking to people, I just feel like the dinner would just be the thing that I'd get the most value from.
So you think you'll click with Jay-Z?
Yeah, I think I could. I think we'd have a great time. I think it'd be great. We discuss music. We discuss his journey. We discuss like how he's like essentially like now he like does the Super Bowl as well with his business, Tidal, all of these things. So I feel like there's a lot you could learn. And I feel like at the end of it, like that's what I mean as well. Like at the end of it, if the dinner goes well and he's like, cool, let's stay connected. Like I could be like, cool. Look, like my brother loves the Super Bowl. I could be like, oh, Jay-Z, you know what? My brother's like for the longest time loved to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not even asking him to sit. Like, I don't even know if Jay-Z's going to be at the Super Bowl this year. But I'm like, I'm not asking him to get tickets to sit with you. But you know, if you know of anyone who could maybe give us tickets so we could go to the game, he might be like, I know more than that. I can get you tickets to the after party. Like. And then you'll just be like having a good time. And then you don't even need, look, you have the wildest stories. You'll be like, oh my days. I was kicking it with like, and like I said, at least a bigger conversation. So like I said, I would love to have Trevor know, like either, I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't even care if I got to interview. I mean, I'd love to know more about Trevor Noah, but I'm like, I would love to be interviewed by him. There's a lot of like, I'd love to meet Idris Elba, all these people. And I'm just like, look, I could go kick it with Jay-Z. Then next thing you know, I'm kicking it. Like he's like, oh, I need to introduce you to Trevor. Like you do podcasting. Trevor would be a great guy if you're looking to get into presenting and all of this stuff. Then it could be like, sick. I'm now kicking it with Trevor Noah. I'm now on his podcast and all of this stuff. So for me, I'm like, the dinner's just like the more fun. Like I just feel like I would enjoy it a lot more than like getting the money. The money, instant success. It's like great, but then you need to think about the longer term benefit of what you're going to do. Yes, I could reinvest the $1 million, get $2 million out of it, but I'm like, the only way I'll do that is if I pay someone. And I could then just learn from Jay-Z how to make my own $1 million and then make enough that I can then just get someone, like I can just automatically just ensure that I'm getting millions in every year. So
I like that. I like that answer. I would pick dinner with Jay-Z as well.
Okay.
On the condition that he brings Beyonce, because I'm a huge Beyonce fan. If he says he's not bringing Beyonce, I'm taking that million.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. That's what I'm doing. Okay, cool. Thank you for answering that.
That's all right.
The next question is, okay, so this was a trend on social media, and people are saying that they have certain colors associated with their auras. So if you could, don't think about it too much.
Okay.
If you were a color based on your aura, what you give off, what would it be?
Like, I mean, now I'm just like, the only thing that comes to mind is my like favorite color. But then I guess arguably, like, you might not be able to see it on camera, but like my coat, my glasses case, and this jumper, like green. So maybe it's I don't know. And my water bottle to be fair.
Okay, wow.
Not intentional at all. But I don't know. I'd say probably that, like
money green or
I think more like, I don't know, like I don't know, like people would probably say I'm looking like I'm over analyzing, but I think my thing would be like one of the words that I would love, I love being associated with Pick Up the Mic is like community. And I like that I'm like, people come on, they feel at home, they feel welcome, they feel comfortable, they feel like they can relax. And I guess for me, I'm like, when I go in nature, like if I sit in a park or I go through, like, I don't know, like, I'm chilling in a park one day. I'm like, it's just like nice to have that break. Even arguably, like if I don't sit in the park, for me, sometimes I'm like, oh, you know what? On the way home, I might go through like a park just because like it may take me on a detour. I might get home like maybe 15 minutes later than I wanted to. But I'm like, there's something nice about just like walking through nature and just like hearing birds, like all of this stuff. So I was just like, so maybe it's that because I'm like, it makes me feel relaxed. It makes me feel cool. It makes me feel like ready to deal with whatever the day brings, or like to put off whatever the day's brought, so I don't bring it home. So yeah, that's probably. But like I don't know, like I've literally like I'm surrounded by green right now, so I'm like maybe green is.
To be fair, it's there's no wrong or right answer to that. It's whatever you feel. So if you felt green is the right answer. So I appreciate. Yeah, I'd agree with the green. You go well with green. Okay, yes. And my last question is...
I also realised people say like, because I'm Nigerian. It's not because it's in the flag as well. Like, it's unintentionally. But please, sorry, continue.
You see that Nigerian flag? It's strong, so strong. Even subconsciously saying the flag. My goodness. Okay, cool. So what does Jeffrey's day in the life look like?
So it varies like day to day because I work part time. So if it's when I'm working part time, it will be like typical thing of like I wake up at around like let's say like between 7 to 7:30, get ready for the day, go to work. I prefer like I don't have to go in. So I work like a couple of days in a week, so I don't work the full week. I prefer doing all my days in the office. I feel like it's nice because you're like in like, especially I think also because my role is like people facing. So I support a program. I'm like to be in the space and like to chat to people. So whether that's, you know, like, I don't know. I'm also waving over the soundboard as if like this is the people. But like for me, it's like, oh, I could send an email to just check in on like how our members are doing. But I could just like if I see them in the space, I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'll just chat to you. Like I'll just be like, how's life? Like how's work? How's like your personal life? Like whatever they want to talk about. And if they want to talk, like sometimes they're like, cool, I want to tell you more and like loads of stuff. Sometimes they're like, yeah, man, like business is good, life is good. Sometimes they're like, look, I just don't really want to talk about like anything work related. But I just like that. I prefer being in the office. And then I guess there are days like today when I'll finish work and then go straight into Pick Up the Mic work. So I'll do a recording. Sometimes maybe I'll do editing. Maybe I'm going to a networking event or an event after work. On days when I'm not working, which is something I need to work on a bit more, is it will be more like working on Pick Up the Mic in some way, shape or form. So whether that's working on our events, I will talk because actually, by the time this comes out, one of them one of them has been announced, so I can announce one of them. Then we've got another one in the works that I'll keep in private. But we're working on our events. It might be editing this, so editing the podcast. It may be coming up with like new video content. It may be like clipping content, so using long form content from the podcast into creating short form reels so we can then post about. It may be researching guests, working on our newsletters, and we've got a WhatsApp community. I'll share more about that later. Yeah, there's more coming about that. I wasn't planning on announcing it, so now I'm like, I'm not going to edit this out. You found out. But yeah, so essentially working on all of this different stuff, on like even like this new thing that I was saying about like why we've got these soundboards and the exciting thing coming from that. Like there's a lot of things that we will be talking like are working on in that sense. The thing that I say I need to work on is like, is two things. One, I need a cut-off point because I tend to like just, especially because like I said, I work part-time. So I'll be like, cool, like I would not today, not tomorrow, because I'm out late both days. I will sometimes like go, so like I might come back from work and I'll be like, okay, cool, I'll just leave the video to edit, because the software I use will just do it automatically, so I don't need to necessarily actively be working on the edit. I can just let this run passively while I'm like working on my actual work, like my day-to-day work, or maybe like I might then use it as an opportunity to like, I don't know, go and relax, like read a book, listen to a podcast, chat to friends or family. So that tends to be like what happens. But the other thing I need to work on is, which is something, funnily enough, I also got from Trevor Noah's podcast, What Now? Was they did a thing, to be fair, I've never been asked this question and I would be interested. This isn't, again, for someone who's watching, who's going to be on to be like, I have to ask Jeffrey this. But it's, the question that they were asked is if there was a rule that you had to enforce around the world, so it was something that like everyone would have to do, what would it be? So Trevor Noah was just like, his thing was no social media for anyone under the age of 16. He was just like, he feels like it's bad, it's not really helping people. It's making children like really self-conscious and worried. And he said long term, like for people outside of that age range, like social media is such a difficult space to navigate. For the other host that was with them, they were like, she was like, sorry, so schools, there shouldn't be like private schools and public schools. It should just be, schools are a universal thing. So private schools and public schools get scrapped. Everyone goes to school, and it's a lottery. So your child may go to like a really great school, your child may go to a really bad school. And their argument was that that would then get rid of like essentially certain schools being really great because they've got like wealthy parents behind it who can fund the school, and some schools suffering because they don't have that. She was just like, if people don't know where the child's going to end and there's no way to influence this system, then parents will be like, yeah, cool, we need to just make sure education as a whole is better for everyone. Which I thought was interesting. But with this thing, you had to get people to there's only 3 of them. So you had to get yourself and ideally one other person to agree to your idea. The final person, which is the one that I'm trying to do, is, so they were born Jewish, and they said that their rule would be that essentially everyone would follow the Sabbath. If you're not Jewish or Christian, you may not know what the Sabbath is, but it's a day of rest. In Judaism, I don't think any sects of Christianity do this, but I may be completely wrong, and maybe Orthodox Church may do this, but I might also be wrong with that. But essentially, it's like from sunrise on, I think, Fridays to sunset on Saturdays, it's no work. More Orthodox, so like more traditional Jewish people may take that form of like no work to be, I can't even turn the oven on. I can't like do anything like that.
Can't drive.
Switch
on the light.
Exactly. So it tends to be that like if they do need anything like that done, they'll sometimes ask their neighbors who aren't observing the Sabbath to do this. But nowadays people are a bit like some, I've forgotten what the Orthodox was, the other one. I've forgotten what the opposite to Orthodox is, but essentially for those, for others who are still like Jewish but don't necessarily follow that, they will turn around and instead just be like, actually, I can still do that smaller stuff, but like any form of proper work. So like, for example, I guess if I was to observe this, which is, again, the plan that I'm trying to do, it would be like no pick up the mic work. So no pick up the mic work, no part-time job work, no like doing anything else. The whole focus is you're supposed to focus, like for people of who follow Judaism, it is just and also for Christians who observe it, it's supposed to be a time when you reflect on God. You go back to like, you're literally just like focusing on that time to develop your relationship with God. For people who don't necessarily follow Judaism but like that practice, it's supposed to be like a reset. So you're taking the space to separate like your work from your personal. So you want to create a day where you are not just like focused on your business and doing stuff. So from that, the person was just like, so his thing was like, it should be like a universal thing. So he was like, obviously like for roles where you need like constant care is needed. So like doctors, policemen.
I feel like it used to be like that though. Before they used to like close everything on Sundays. Like even in some countries they still do. Like everyone has to rest.
Yeah, but even like I said, like you know, if you look at like countries like Spain or Portugal, they have a siesta time. So like for like midday and 2, stuff's not open. Yeah, I
was shocked when I went to Spain and like everyone was sleeping. I was like, okay, this is different. I ain't mad.
But I was honestly like, when I saw that, I was just like, like. Why is that not like? This is definitely something like we could do here.
Yeah,
like,
I said I wish that was me. Please imagine in the office and they say,
they're just like, look, guys, it's your rest time. Like, go home, like have a siesta, come back in 2 hours. Yeah, like wouldn't that be the dream?
Must be very nice. But I feel like you're more efficient if you just have rest. I don't know why.
No, 100%.
People can't fathom that.
No, 100%. That's also, that could be a whole separate conversation in itself. Why people also advocate for like the 4-day working week as well.
I want that.
I also feel like there's an interesting thing that I've seen other organizations do where it's you have unlimited, so your annual leave isn't limited by like your position or your like how long you've been in the company. You get unlimited annual leave, but the argument is that essentially like you like that. So I couldn't just be like tomorrow, call my manager up in the morning and be like, I'm off for like 3 months. But the argument is rather than like essentially sick days and stuff like that, it's supposed to give people the, like you said, the opportunity to rest. What's really interesting is there's loads of studies that have been done on it. And they found out that like when they did it, there wasn't, so like one company did it and there was no change between when like giving everyone unlimited annual leave and you can take it whenever, compared to when they didn't have that, there was no difference.
I think people were scared. I'd be like, maybe my manager's like judging me and like, she's slacking and why she's taking so many days.
But that was really interesting because most people didn't like abuse the system. So people would still take the same amount of annual leave that they were expected to or like that they're used to. And then they were saying what was interesting is as they continued it, like you then saw people would like basically, like you said, people were better rested, people were more refreshed, work productivity increased. And like you said, it wasn't because like, like it wasn't necessarily like they were just like, the workplace is bad and I hate working here. But it was just like, okay, you do, maybe 9 to 5, you're doing this 5 days a week. It gets repetitive. It gets tiring. You're in a fast-paced environment. Things are moving quickly. You're not necessarily getting that time to rest. Yes, you've now got annual leave, but your annual leave, you've only got a certain number of days you can do per year. Every organization tackles annual leave differently. So I know some, you can carry a small number of days. For some of them, you can carry over as many days as you want. For some, if you don't want to carry over days, you can get that money. You can get those days back as money. Like, it would basically erase all of that, but made people feel like more valid, more empowered, more ready to work, but also gave them that space to be like, okay, cool, actually, you know what? Like, next week, I just need the next month off. But it was really interesting to see. And I was just like, why don't more organizations do this? I get why, like, if you're like, depending on where you work, why you might be a bit hesitant. But I guess for me, I was also just like one thing I guess my manager has really honed into me is that essentially like I'm not a doctor. And what I mean by that is like my work, if I'm like I think there were times when like I would like rush in or I'd be like, I'm not feeling 100%, but I should be in because I don't want to take sick leave or whatever and this or that. And my manager was just like, at the end of the day, like, we're not doctors.
Yeah,
like,
no one's gonna die.
No one's gonna die if I don't send this email or if I don't do, like, someone may be a bit disgruntled, they may be a bit annoyed, but like there's no point in overworking myself. And that's one thing I would say, like, definitely with my like current job, that like within my direct team, there is that real clear like, don't work if you're not well. Like my team manager was just like, if you don't feel 100%, why are you coming into work? Like,
Sabbath.
yeah, like she was just like, look, like one, like she was just like, it's not good for you. You're going to just stress yourself. You're going to not feel great. 2, she was just like, it's worse if you come in, you work, and then maybe you work 2 or 3 days, and then you're off for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, you just prolong the recovery
Exactly.
period.
And then I think the issue now is, so obviously work from home has become more apparent. It's a more important, like it's here more than it used to be. And like, what's interesting is before, if you weren't well, like, so example, like when I, like after COVID, when I got my first role, like that's when I started to work. Well, actually, that's a lie. When I did my placement year, COVID hit. So like I then technically worked from home. But like before COVID, I'd never worked from home before ever. So for me, I was just like, this is interesting because everyone, like, especially like nowadays, like I might be like, I feel like my throat's a bit sore or like I've got a bit of a headache, but like I can work. And I feel like that, I don't know, I think that did happen. There was one day I was like working from home and I was just like my head was just hurting during this meeting. And then I spoke to my manager afterwards. She was just like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, no, I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie, this meeting was like a lot of overload and like my head's kind of hurting. And she was just like, oh no, like if you need to log off for the rest of, like, she was like, shut your laptop, like after we, like, let's finish this chat, shut your laptop. And then she was just like, if you need to take a break, like take a break. Like there's your head, like if you've got a headache, don't power through.
Yeah, I feel like studies need to be done because I get that too. I feel like because I'm working from home, like technically it's not as strenuous as being in person. So even if like I have a headache or I'm not feeling 100%, I'm like, I'm working from home, so like I can still just power through it.
100%.
But no, you actually have to take time and rest.
100%.
So that's so interesting because like if I was going in person and I had a headache, I'd be like, actually, no, I need to rest. So just because I'm working from home, why do you need to?
Yeah. So it was really nice. So that would be my like other thing to add to that as well. But yeah, no, that's basically like my day to day. Like I want to essentially, I guess long term, or not even long term, this is definitely something immediate. I want to have a day, like ideally probably Saturdays, because those are my like most chill days. Have that as a day of no work. So I don't do anything to pick up the mic. For myself as like a founder, whatever, like it's literally just a day where like, if I want to like, I don't know, read a book, binge a TV show, like hang out with friends, family, like game, whatever I want to do, that's what that day is designed for. And it's a day where I can just like rest, take it slow, you know, like pray, like reconnect with, or no, maybe not reconnect, but connect with God. But for me, I just feel like I'm just like, even if you're like not, and that was what was interesting. The person who suggested the like Sabbath day on Trevor Noah's podcast, he was like, even if, so I don't think he said he was like a practicing, he's not practicing Judaism, but he was saying like for himself, he was just like, the principles of having that when he was younger just taught him so much. So I was just like, if he's saying this, then like clearly, it just makes sense to make this a thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, like you can find a way to do it. So like, if there are like, you know, key roles like doctors, you know, your like emergency service people, the military, I guess is what, the military is as well. Like those type of people, you may need to figure out how that would work for them, whether it's, you know, someone's like this is ridiculous, but like employed to have another Sabbath day like during the week when everyone else is working. In the same way, I guess it's not ridiculous because in the same way you have people who do night shifts and people who do day shifts on the job. Just be the same thing. So just be like, some people work on the, like have regular Sabbath days like everyone else follows. So maybe that's their Saturday, maybe that's their Sunday. And then people have days during the week where that's their Sabbath. But I feel like that's something that like, whether you're a business founder, whether you're creative, whether you're a professional, whatever, I just feel like that's something that like everyone should just have in their day. Whether you're, even arguably if you're religious or not, like I just feel like have a day where you're not doing like anything. And it's a day that you stick to. So whether that's you need to like put a lock on your devices and it's like you're blocked from all these devices, even if you have to like be super strict and you get like a family member or friend, or if you got someone on your team to like reset all your passwords so then you can't even log in. Like to me, I'm just like, have that 24 hours where you're just like, I can't work on this thing. And even like my final things to say about this would be, if you are, especially if you're a business, like people may say it's hard if you're doing this as an employee, but I'd say if you're a business founder and you're especially starting like a small business, I would just say like have that in your email signature. Like on, if someone's emailing, like if you want to follow it in like traditional Judaism, so like sun sunset on Friday to sunset on sunset on Friday to sunset on Saturday. Just have it that as soon as like sunset is, or even if you're just like you can't do it based on sunset because that changes throughout the year. Like you could just be like 5 p.m. on Friday to 5 p.m. on Saturday. Send out a thing, and it's just like, hey, thanks for getting in touch with me. Like this is my I observe this day of rest. So I unfortunately do not. I wouldn't even say unfortunately. I do not review my emails for the next 24 hours. If it's super urgent and it's pressing, like get in touch with me. And if you don't have my phone number, unfortunately, like this is gonna have to wait. And that very finally leads to there's this quote that I think Tom Holland quoted on a podcast he was on, and it was like, if you need me, call me. And if you don't have my phone number, then you're not close enough. Like, basically, you're not close enough to need me that desperately.
Ooh, ouch.
And I was like, that's a fair point. Because sometimes you're entertaining things or like emails and stuff that could wait for a day or two. But I was like, he's actually got a fair point. So that would be my other thing. Like, yes, obviously you want to make a sale. Everyone wants to make a profit, or everyone wants to grow their business. But like, if you do want to have this day of rest, just put it in your email signature. I know there's a guy that I work with, and he says this exact same thing. So he's like, oh, I don't really read my emails. So if you desperately need me, like send me, like give me a call or text me. And he was just like, if this email can wait, I will get back to this email. But I'm like out here trying to make money for my business. So
fair enough.
This is where I'm at.
Period.
So yeah,
I'm going to hold you accountable to that. One Saturday, I'm going to email you and make sure I don't receive anything back.
You know what? It's. I mean, that's what I was saying. Like January's been interesting because like I was ill last week.
Oh.
And then the start of the year, I was off. Well, no, yeah, I was off work, and then my brother was in he works abroad, so he was back. So I was also just like, I don't want to do any like podcast recording, anything while he was here. Just want to spend time with him. So for me, it's been funny because like I guess inadvertently I've kind of observed that, or even if it's been like I don't know, my family's turned around and been like, oh Jeffrey, like we need you to like go out with us to do X or do Y. So I wouldn't. Actually, no, to be fair, like last weekend is a lie. I did go out on Saturday. I went to but to be fair, that was a conference that I already got free tickets to. So I was like, I can't not do it.
Does this work?
No, to be fair, not really. Okay. So it was through an accelerator program I was on. Shout out 2020 levels. But they were just, it was like a young person's conference, and they were just like, look, it talks about career development, entrepreneurship, like if you want to come along, we've got free tickets and apply. So I did, I got it, and I like went. But to me, I wouldn't even say that was like work, because I didn't like work the event. I wasn't speaking. I was literally just attending as a guest. So for me, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to see how it goes. Like if I feel like, you know, there's good connections to be made, I'll connect with people. If I feel like I just want to come here to like make content, I'll make content. If I feel like actually, you know what, I just want to connect with like people, and like maybe I'll follow up, like not even maybe I'll follow up with them. I've also told people like, if you don't have to get the contact details, like LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever, of everyone that you connect with, because I feel like everyone's just like, oh yeah, as long as I go to a networking event, I need to connect and do all these DMs and stuff. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, see how it goes. Like, you might also be like, this person's great, but
have you done a episode on LinkedIn etiquette?
So we did an episode with someone who spoke about LinkedIn, but we haven't done one specifically on LinkedIn etiquette. But I've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
You should plan it.
We can work on it. I've got ideas on how that could go. But yeah, no, I would say like that's my day to day, but also like the things I would advise for someone who wants to have a more structured day to day.
Thank you for that. Last question, because I need to know this. What policy won?
What policy? What do you mean with policy?
In the podcast.
Oh, on the thing. Oh, yeah. Sorry. It was the Sabbath one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the Sabbath one. Because they were just like, because I don't remember. I don't remember who. So the argument for the others two was the school one. People were just like, unfortunately, in the world we exist in, there's no way you could guarantee that like corruption wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
and they're just like,
pay them off especially if it's Nigeria. They'll pay them off. It doesn't work.
Honestly, and they were just like, it just wouldn't work. Yeah. And then I think for Trevor Noah's one, I don't remember why they said social media for like. I think they were just like, I think they were just like a mix between how you would enforce it, because like, are you going to basically say that the apps have to, like, I guess, which is what people don't want, which is currently happening, of like, you know, for certain apps, you need to do the digital verification and people are just like, who's managing this data? And they were just like, that wouldn't necessarily work. Then they were talking about like, if you're then making it that like, I don't know, it's based on like other stuff that someone has to do. So maybe it's like, you need to, I don't know, do a facial scan or other stuff. Again, you're still dealing with data and that's difficult. So I think they were just like, how do you really ensure that like anyone under 16 wouldn't get access to it? And then I think they were saying the argument that it doesn't work as well is there are good examples of when social media has worked for people under the ages of 16 or even full 16-year-olds. So where they were just like, whether it's like finding new networks, whether it's connecting with other people, even if it's like finding events or programs or
work experience
and stuff like that. So they were just like, there's a lot of like social media, yes, can be bad, but there's also a lot of good cases for it. So they were just like, it doesn't make sense. So the reason why I've forgotten so the person who proposed it voted for himself, and then the other was just like, actually, I agree with you that yours makes sense. But I think they were just like, so I feel like Trevor was the one. Trevor Noah was the person that didn't agree with it because he was saying, I just don't see how you could enforce a Sabbath. Because he was like, are you going to do it like COVID so that there's like a COVID, like, you know, in COVID, like the police were making sure people were staying in their houses. Would you then have it that people would check in to make people sure they're observing the Sabbath? But then I think he was saying as well, like I was saying about like, emergency services, like how would that operate? Because they would need their Sabbath. But then like I proposed, the guy was just like, you know, we could have on another day. So I feel, it won. I also agree that of the three, I think the Sabbath is the one that really most people will probably, like, I personally think is the easiest one to do, and I think it's the one that most people would really want. Everyone's tired and burnt out. Giving people a day where like they can't work. Because I think even he was saying, like, even if you just, like, which probably is not great and people wouldn't like, but, like, if you have to shut the internet down for, like, a day. Like, see, look, Instagram...
Don't make them friends.
Like, Instagram went down and people were just, like, didn't know what to do with themselves. But, yeah, it was, like, the same thing. He was just, like, even if it's something like that, or you say, like, hey, like, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this, but, like, he was just like, you know, like, I'd obviously, like, to, like... health and safety wise, it's not safe. But like he was just like, even if power's like turned off in the house, because I think he was saying for some houses, for some houses in like for some Jewish houses, they'll basically like they'll just use candles. Like they'll do that 24 hours during the night. It's like candles or it's like lamps or lanterns, but it's not like electricity that's being used.
But then it feels like a prison. Like, why are you turning off my lights, taking my internet?
But I'm like, it's like a nice, like, you know, like...
That sounds like a prison. I think it should be optional.
No, I agree. I agree that it may not work for everyone. But I think the reason why I like it is because it's like, I feel like, especially because like, my business, like, I think if I didn't do a tech-based business, but like, I guess I'm like in front of a screen for my business. I'm in front of a screen for work. If I want a game, I'm in front of a screen. If I want to call people, I'm in front of a screen. So for me, it's like, yeah, it's great having all this tech and stuff, but it also then means that like simple stuff you don't necessarily get. And I'm like, sometimes you just want to like not do anything with your tech. Like you just want to. So like,
you want to touch grass.
You want to touch grass. Like I'm like, for me on holiday, people are just like, what, like you running out exploring the city and doing all these things, and I'm like, yeah, some days I'm doing that. Some days I'm just like, I'm gonna sit on my hotel balcony, read a book, look over like a nice view, take it slow, walk on a beach, like, and not like, even like I might go to the beach, I might take a photo or two, but then it's like phone gets packed away, I'm reading a book, or maybe I'm talking to someone at the beach, and I'm just like, that's like nice, that's like what it should be. But like, I feel like this is me saying like I'm anti-tech because obviously like this is all being recorded through tech. But yeah, that would be my opinion. I just feel like that's just...
Have you seen those TikTok videos where people sit there for an hour without doing anything?
Yeah.
To like help their dopamine addiction. I'm going to try that.
You're going to try it? You need to let me know how this goes.
I'll email you on Saturday. And
I feel like you could do it. I feel like you do it.
Thank you for having faith in me. I don't think I can. Probably last 10 minutes, but we'll see.
But yeah, do you have any more questions?
No, that was it. Thank you for answering
them. Thank you very much. All questions have not been asked. Like I said, you're setting the bar high for this season. Good luck to all of you that come after. But yeah, we're going to go on to the MC of the month, which is organizational individual relevant to the conversation that we're having today. And for today's for today's MC of the month, they are Codebar. So it's a community helping people from underrepresented groups learn programming through free workshops in a supportive environment. And we think, not only is this great for career switchers who want to experience, that essentially need structure and learning how to use new tools and new resources, but it also gives you a community that you can get involved with. So whether you are someone who is joining, you've never done coding or programming before, or whether you're someone that's done it, but you don't have a community to surround yourself with, they're a great place for you to be a part of, tap into and enjoy. They're our MC of the month. But yeah, we've now come to the very end of the episode. So no, tell a lie, not the very end, the second last part of the episode, which is the takeaway segment, which is a message for our audience to go home with. So Ruth, this is where I hand over to you again. And we've talked about a lot. We've almost talked for an hour and a half, which is wild, but we've almost talked for an hour and a half. What is your one message that you would like our audience to go home with? So if it was this is the only thing that they were to remember from today, this is what you want them to remember.
It's never too late to pivot. If you don't like where you are, what you're doing, as long as you're not dead, there's still time for you to change. Never think that you're stuck.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
sweet.
Yeah, short and sweet. There's nothing else for me to say.
Oh yeah, also follow my blog, www.ruthfultech.com.
Yes, you beat me to it, so I was literally about to say
sorry, I overstepped, sorry.
No. This is your opportunity to shout out about yourself. How can people connect with you? How can they find out more information? But also, if you've got anything cool coming out in the works, this episode probably will come out mid-Feb. So if there's anything February or March you want people to be aware of, there's stuff I need to say from Pick Up the Mic, but this is your opportunity to share what you're doing first. Yes,
so you can find me on TikTok, Instagram at RuthfulTech, and then obviously my blog, which I just said, www.ruthfultech.com. I basically share insights and resources for people who want to either pivot into tech or career switch, and then also just talk about mindset and other things of that nature. Coming up, so I want to be more practical in kind of coaching people to career pivot, because I get a lot of questions and demand to actually assist people. So I'll be starting some mentorship and also some digital products to actually give people practical tips on how they can career switch. So watch out for that.
Okay, cool. One thing before I end that I didn't ask you about, which I am actually interested in knowing, your creative design studios, graphic design. One, let's know a bit more about that very quickly. But also, is it still up? Is this something people should tap into? Is this something you've put on pause? What's happening there?
Yeah, so I put it on pause. So basically, I was okay, I don't want to take up too much time. During the pandemic, everyone was starting businesses. Do you remember that? Everyone was at home. Everyone was a lot of people doing either lip gloss or they're making resin stuff or just small businesses. And I was like, I want to start a business. I was like, let me be smart about this. If other people are starting businesses, I want to bring them all together. What's something that all of these businesses need? And I was like, they need a logo. They need social media branding content that's cohesive and so on and so forth. They need graphics. So I decided to open this graphic design business. It was called Ruth Jar Graphics. I taught myself Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop. I would make these logos and graphics. It was so much fun. I'm a creative person. I like bringing something from nothing. That's what I thrive on. I just enjoyed working with these small businesses on growing their company, coming up with their brand identity. It was so much fun. But obviously when I started coding, I was like, oh my gosh, I love coding. And then that kind of drew me away from Ruth Jar Graphics. And I forgot what I was actually learning to code for. But that is that's something I love. I love branding. I love marketing. I feel like I do that with my Ruthful Tech brand. So I do it on a smaller scale for myself. So I do social media content, videos, and have logos and my blog and stuff like that. So I do it for myself, which is in some ways more fun, because when you're working with clients, no shade, if they want a logo and I've made this beautiful logo and they're like, oh, I just need it more pizzazz and more like blah, 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 blah. It's like I'm limited in what I can do creatively. But when it's my own thing, I can just like, the world is my oyster. I can go out and do what I want. But yeah, so Ruth Graphics has come to an end, unfortunately, but better things are on the horizon.
That's lovely. Well, you've heard it here. Check out all of those wonderful links and make sure you connect with Ruth. But yeah, we're going to wrap up the episode there. As usual, if you like this episode, like, comment, subscribe is always appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any more episodes of the Student Guide or any of the other content on the Pick Up the Mic YouTube channel, then please do make sure you click the notification bell at the bottom of the video. If you are interested in receiving cool merch, discounts on our events, because we will be hosting more events this year, which I'll go into a bit later, then please do make sure that you are subscribed either to our Patreon page, or you could be a YouTube channel member, or you could subscribe to Buy Me a Coffee. So for the price of 1 cup of a coffee on any of those platforms, you could subscribe, give some money back to Pick Up the Mic, but also, as I mentioned, you get cool, nice perks. We've actually got new merch coming in, which to celebrate this year, because we're 5 years, and I'll talk more about that again later on in just a bit. And then finally, if you want to make sure that you don't miss our other content, as I mentioned, we have 3 other YouTube channels. So if you want to make sure if you're interested in anime and you want to make sure you don't miss any anime content, check out Senseis of Anime. If you're interested in gaming and you don't want to miss gaming content, check out Pick Up the Controller. And if you're interested in sci-fi and fantasy, check out the Two Maesters. There will be some more videos dropping from them this year, so check out that. And then outside of that, the last couple of things that I'm going to quickly just whistle stop through, which will also be posting as separate videos. So if you haven't stuck around till the end, then you'll see this posted on LinkedIn over the next few weeks of recording this. But we have 2 big things to announce. So first is, as always, we host a Women's History networking event / live panel. We have we've got a full panel of 5 incredible speakers. We have a keynote speaker that is in the works, so we will keep that quiet for now. So keep an eye on the space. They will be announcing themselves soon. But we have a networking event to celebrate Women's History in March. So that will be Friday, the 20th of March from 6 till 10. It's at Canva's event space, the Burnsey warehouse. We'll include the link in the description. So if you're interested and you want to come along, please do make sure you sign up. You don't only get refreshments like free food, you also get a free headshot too. So if you're looking to update that LinkedIn photo, because you've graduated for a couple of years, but you've kept that graduation photo on there for a bit too long than you were expecting, then come and expect a new headshot. But also we have an amazing set of panelists all across different industries, such as journalism, STEM, fashion, particularly sustainable fashion, and also like Web3 design, and also like blockchain and stuff like that. All stuff that I don't know enough information of. Tech, thank you. Tech language that I don't know, but maybe you do and you're interested in learning more. But yeah, this is open to anyone. So whether you're a student, creative, whether you are a business owner, there will be an incredible panel. But also outside of the panel, we have 2 or 3. I don't remember off the top of my head. I ended up booking a lot of facilitators, but we got loads of facilitators. I think it's 2, doing incredible work, games and workshops to connect with you and help you to connect with the audience. So, like I mentioned, 20th of March, 6 to 10, Burnsey Warehouse in Old Street, so Canva's event space. The Eventbrite link is in the description. Make sure you subscribe, click, register, come along. If you're coming, make sure your friend comes too, because maybe they need a new headshot.
And your enemies.
And your enemies as well. Maybe they need a new headshot. But bring them along. Second thing that we'll be doing, I won't announce more information. Well, I'll announce it, but I won't go into too much detail as we're confirming the details as of recording. But we will be doing our 5-year celebration of Pick Up the Mic in April, because we are, the business is 5. Well, the whole Pick Up the Mic, as everything has been since the idea stage, celebrating 5 years in March, but we will be doing our big celebration in April. More details about that coming soon, so keep an eye on the space. And then very finally, as I mentioned at the start, because I can't end the episode without talking about it, is you see in the last episode and in this episode, we've got some new cool microphones. We've now got a soundboard, which again, I will press the applause. And essentially, this is because we are partnering up with an incredible organization called Does, because we will now be delivering a new media service. So you may have heard of our old media service, which is still there. So if you just are looking for photography, videography, that's perfectly fine. But as someone who hosts events, I know all the time that you're looking for like PA equipment, or you're looking for sound equipment to really like upscale your event. Maybe you're using a space that doesn't have this stuff, but you really want the audio to be crisp or clear. Maybe you're even looking to host your own podcast and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have the funds to pay for a podcast studio because it's so expensive. It's so so expensive, because we know that can be the case. Well, look no further. Pick Up the Mic is partnering with Does to deliver a new service. So I will also include the link down below to a form that you can sign up to. And if you are watching this on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever the platform I post this, I'll include the link in our bio and link in the post notes and all of that fun stuff. So you can click on it and let us know what you're looking for. Let us know what you need. We'll let you know the price. But we are ensuring that essentially your events are always being captured in the most impactful, incredible way. So whether you want to launch a podcast, whether you want to simply just hire out a PA system for an event because you've got an event space but they don't have any AV, which is very common sometimes, we've got the equipment to support you. So this is, funnily enough, our opportunity to let you pick up the mic. So make sure that you don't miss out on this audio service, as well as our current media service too. Check them both out. And yeah, that's basically it. So we're going to close this chapter of the student guide. Thank you for everyone who's stayed until the very end. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all in the next episode when we discuss a new topic with a new guest speaker, and we explore another chapter of this new edition. As I say, each season is a new edition of the student guide, and we'll be exploring a lot of cool stuff this season. So that's bye from us here. Have a wonderful day, and we'll speak to you soon.